The emergency transmission pulsed through the Galactic Medical Council's headquarters, its red warning lights bathing the central chamber in an ominous glow. Ambassador Wren stood motionless before the holographic display, her four-fingered hands clasped tightly behind her back as the desperate message from the Orin system played again. "This is Prime Healer Mira of Orin," came the strained voice, the translator only partially masking the speaker's fear. "Our population is being decimated by an unknown pathogen. Mortality rate exceeds 70%. Our medical technology cannot combat it. We plead for immediate assistance from the Galactic Medical Council before our civilization faces extinction." The message ended, leaving the chamber in silence. Wren's pale blue skin seemed to grow even paler as she turned to face the council members seated in a semicircle behind her. "The Orin are a peaceful species," she said, her voice steady despite her concern. "They joined our interstellar community only 30 cycles ago. Their medical technology is still developing. This plague could indeed wipe them out completely if we don't act quickly." High Counselor Tsel, the eldest among them, leaned forward. "What resources do we have in proximity to the Orin system?" Wren gestured to the star map that replaced Mira's image. "That's the problem. High Counselor, our nearest medical response vessel is 8 light weeks away, currently assisting with the drought crisis in the Century Cluster." 8 weeks, Counselor Jax exclaimed. "The Orin don't have 8 weeks. Their population will be decimated by then." "Are there any closer civilizations that could offer assistance?" asked Tsel. Wren manipulated the star map, highlighting nearby systems. "The closest is Earth. They joined the interstellar community only 15 years ago, but they have advanced medical capabilities." Earth. Several council members exchanged concerned glances. "I know they're newcomers," Wren acknowledged, "but they've shown remarkable progress in medical sciences, particularly in vaccine development and epidemic control." "They're also remarkably militaristic," Counselor Jax noted with disapproval. "Their history is filled with warfare. Even their medical protocols are intertwined with military procedures." Wren nodded. "True, but they've adhered to our non-aggression principles since joining, and they're only 2 light days from the Orin system." High Counselor Tsel stroked his long, white beard thoughtfully. "We have little choice. Send the request to Earth. Make it clear we need medical personnel only. The last thing the Orin need is armed humans making first contact." "I'll compose the message immediately," Wren said, bowing slightly. As she left the chamber, Wren couldn't shake her unease. Earth was indeed the closest help available, but their reputation throughout the galaxy was complex, brilliant, and compassionate. Yes, but also unpredictable and sometimes alarmingly aggressive in their approach to problem-solving. Still, with millions of Orin lives at stake, they had no alternative. In her private chamber, Wren carefully drafted the urgent request, emphasizing the peaceful nature of the mission and the need for haste. She reviewed it 3 times before sending it through the Quantum Communication Network to Earth's Interstellar Relations Department. "Please," she whispered to no one in particular, "send doctors, not soldiers." 3 days later, Wren was summoned back to the council chambers. She found the normally composed council members in an unusual state of agitation. "Ambassador," High Counselor Tsel said without preamble, "we've received Earth's response to our request for medical assistance to the Orin." "That's excellent news," Wren began, but faltered at seeing the counselor's expressions. "Isn't it?" "They're sending ships," Counselor Jax said, his voice tight with disapproval. "Military vessels. What but our request clearly specified?" "See for yourself." Tsel gestured to the central holographic display. The image showed 5 massive ships in formation. 3 were unmistakably warships, Dreadnoughts by Earth classification, their hulls bristling with what could only be weapon systems. The other 2, while less heavily armed, were clearly military vessels as well, though modified with large medical insignias painted on their hulls. Earth's response states they're sending 3 protection-class Dreadnoughts and 2 medical carrier vessels with full medical staff and supplies. Zell explained. They claim this formation is necessary to ensure the safety of the medical personnel and to guarantee delivery of the supplies. This is outrageous, Counselor Jax interjected. We asked for doctors, not a battle fleet. Wren studied the image carefully. Have they violated any council protocols? The Treaty of Procyon only prohibits unprovoked military aggression. It doesn't technically forbid armed humanitarian missions. A convenient loophole, Jax scoffed. High Counselor Zell raised a hand for calm. Ambassador Wren raises a valid point. While this response is concerning, Earth hasn't violated any explicit prohibitions. More importantly, the Orin situation grows more desperate by the hour. We should demand they send unarmed vessels, another counselor suggested. That would delay the response by at least another week, Wren countered. Millions more Orin would die. The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled over them. Finally, Zell spoke. Ambassador Wren, establish direct communication with the Earth Fleet. Make our concerns clear, but do not delay their mission. Then proceed to the Orin system immediately. You will serve as our official representative and monitor this unusual humanitarian mission. Yes, High Counselor, Wren said, bowing deeply. As she left the chamber, Wren's mind raced. The humans had responded with typical human efficiency and typical human excess. Now, she would have to navigate a delicate diplomatic situation while literally millions of lives hung in the balance. The communication with the Earth Fleet commander was brief and to the point. Captain James Riley, a stern-faced human with close-cropped gray hair, listened to Wren's concerns without interruption. Ambassador, he replied when she had finished. I understand the Council's position. However, our assessment indicates significant risk factors in the Orin region, including recent pirate activity in neighboring systems. Our medical personnel are too valuable to risk. The Dreadnoughts are there to ensure they arrive safely and can perform their duties without interference. Captain, the appearance of warships in Orin space could create diplomatic complications. With respect, Ambassador, our priority is saving lives, not managing diplomatic niceties. The fleet will maintain position around the medical carriers and will engage only if threatened. Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Elena Stone leads our medical team and has full operational authority for all medical aspects of this mission. Before Wren could respond, Riley added, Our vessels will reach Orin space in approximately 48 hours. I look forward to meeting you there, Ambassador. The communication ended. Wren stood motionless before the blank screen. The humans were coming with their doctors and their Dreadnoughts, whether the Council approved or not. All she could do now was reach Orin first and prepare for their arrival. Her diplomatic vessel, sleek and unarmed as befitted a Council representative, departed immediately for the Orin system, traveling at maximum speed. She would arrive just hours before the Earth Fleet. The journey gave her time to study both the Orin civilization and the latest reports on the epidemic. The Orin were a gentle species, primarily agrarian, with a unified planetary government that had eagerly joined the galactic community. Their physiology was humanoid, though with distinctive features, iridescent skin that shifted colors with their emotional state, large eyes adapted to their dim homeworld, and a respiratory system that processed their methane-rich atmosphere. The pathogen attacking them was still unidentified, but its effects were devastating, attacking the respiratory system first, then spreading to other organs. Without treatment, death came within days. Over 20% of the population had already succumbed, and the infection rate was accelerating. As her ship entered the Orin system, Wren was struck by the eerie silence on communication channels. Normally, an inhabited system would buzz with transmissions, commerce, personal messages, entertainment. Here, there was almost nothing. Her vessel established orbit around Orin Prime, the homeworld, and immediately a weak transmission came through. Galactic Council vessel, this is Prime Healer Mira. Welcome to Orin. Please tell me you've brought help. Prime Healer, this is Ambassador Wren of the Galactic Medical Council. Help is coming, but I must speak with you urgently before it arrives. Within the hour, Wren had transported down to the surface, wearing a containment suit to protect against the pathogen. The sight that greeted her was heartbreaking. The Orin capital city, once a marvel of organic architecture with living buildings that grew and changed with the seasons, now appeared withered and dying. Few Orin moved through the streets, and those who did walked slowly, many showing symptoms of the disease. Prime Healer Mira met her at the Central Medical Facility, a vast structure now overflowing with the sick and dying. Mira herself looked exhausted, her normally vibrant skin dull and gray with fatigue. Ambassador, she greeted Wren, her voice raspy even through the translator. You said help is coming. Yes, Wren confirmed. Earth has responded to our request. Their medical ships will arrive within hours. Earth. Mira's skin flickered briefly with blue. Hope. Wren recalled from her studies. The humans. They're known for their medical innovations. Yes, but there's something you should know. Wren hesitated. They're sending military vessels as well. Warships. Mira's skin shifted to a confused yellow. Warships, why we're not under attack? The humans claim it's for protection. Their medical personnel and supplies are traveling in carrier vessels, escorted by 3 Dreadnoughts, large combat ships. I don't understand, Mira said, her confusion evident. Why would medical help need military protection? It's complicated, Wren explained. Humans have a different approach to humanitarian aid than most council species. They believe in being prepared for any contingency. Ambassador, Mira said, her voice suddenly urgent. I don't care if they send doctors or soldiers or maintenance robots. My people are dying. If the humans can help us, they are welcome here, warships and all. Wren nodded solemnly. I understand, but I wanted to prepare you. The arrival of such vessels might cause concern among your population. Those still healthy enough to notice will only feel relief, Mira assured her. Now, please, let me show you what we're facing. The tour of the medical facility was grim. Patients filled every available space, many lying on makeshift beds in corridors. Medical staff moved between them, clearly overwhelmed. The air, despite filtration systems working at capacity, carried the distinct odor of sickness and death. Our doctors are working themselves to exhaustion, Mira explained as they walked. Many have fallen ill themselves. We've lost 15% of our medical personnel already. What treatments have you attempted? Wren asked. Everything in our pharmacology. Nothing slows the progression for more than a few hours. The pathogen adapts rapidly. They stopped before a large window, looking into a laboratory where Orin scientists worked feverishly. This is our main research facility, Mira said. We've been trying to develop a vaccine, but the pathogen's mutation rate exceeds our ability to counter it. Wren was about to respond when her communication device chimed. Ambassador Wren, this is Captain Riley of the Earth vessel Hippocrates. Our fleet has entered the Orin system and established orbit. Request permission to begin medical deployment. Wren exchanged glances with Mira, who nodded emphatically. Permission granted, Captain, Wren replied. The situation here is critical. Every moment counts. Understood, Ambassador. Our advance team will transport to your location in 15 minutes. Please clear a landing zone of at least 30 square meters. We'll be ready. As Wren and Mira hurried to prepare for the humans' arrival, an alert sounded from Wren's diplomatic vessel in orbit. Ambassador, multiple unidentified ships have just entered the system. Her ship's AI reported, they're on an intercept course with the Earth fleet. Who are they? Put it on visual. A holographic display appeared before her, showing space around Orin Prime. The 5 Earth vessels had established a tight formation in high orbit. Approaching them were 7 smaller ships of varied design. Analysis indicates vessels of Stellar Alliance origin, the AI continued. No response to identification queries. The Stellar Alliance. Ren felt a chill. The Alliance was a coalition of systems that had consistently opposed Earth's inclusion in the galactic community, viewing humans as dangerously unpredictable. "They're hailing the Earth fleet," the AI reported. "Patch me in," Ren ordered. "Now." The communication channel opened, just in time for Ren to hear a cold voice declaring, "Earth vessels, this is Ambassador Varen of the Stellar Alliance. You will power down your weapon systems and prepare for boarding. Your military presence in this system constitutes an act of aggression and violates Council protocols." Captain Riley's response was immediate. "Ambassador Varen, this is a humanitarian mission authorized by the Galactic Medical Council. Our weapon systems are defensive only. We will not power down while our medical personnel are at risk." "You were requested to send doctors," Varen retorted. "Not dreadnoughts. Your military vessels will withdraw immediately or face consequences." "This is Ambassador Ren of the Galactic Medical Council," Ren interjected. "Ambassador Varen, the Earth fleet is here at our request to address a critical medical emergency. Any interference with their mission will be considered a direct violation of the emergency aid protocols of... The protocols do not authorize military deployments." Varen cut her off. "The Stellar Alliance will not allow Earth to establish a military presence in this sector, under the guise of humanitarian aid." "Ambassador," Riley's voice was tense. 7 Stellar Alliance vessels are moving to blockade positions. 3 have activated weapons targeting systems. "Varen, stand down your ships," Ren urged. "Millions of Orin lives are at stake, and billions of lives throughout the sector could be at risk if we allow humans to establish military beachheads wherever they please." Varen responded coldly. "Earth vessels, this is your final warning. Withdraw your dreadnoughts, or we will open fire." "They're targeting our medical carriers," Riley reported, his voice tight with controlled anger. "Ambassador Ren, we cannot withdraw without abandoning the Orin. Request permission to take defensive measures." Ren froze, the weight of the decision crushing down on her. The Galactic Medical Council had sent her to monitor a humanitarian mission, not to authorize what could become an interstellar incident. Yet every moment of delay meant more Orin deaths. "Captain Riley," she said finally, "you are authorized to take minimum defensive measures necessary to protect your medical personnel and ensure delivery of aid to the Orin. I repeat, minimum defensive measures only." "Understood, Ambassador." The communication channel went silent. On the holographic display, Ren watched as the Earth dreadnoughts moved to position themselves between the Alliance vessels and the medical carriers. For a moment, it seemed the show of force might be enough to deter aggression. Then, a lance of energy flashed from one of the Alliance ships, striking the lead dreadnought's shields. "They've opened fire," Riley's voice reported calmly. "Returning fire. Defensive pattern Alpha. Medical carriers initiating emergency deployment procedures." The space above Orin Prime erupted in combat. The Alliance vessels, though more numerous, were outclassed by the Earth dreadnoughts. Energy weapons and projectiles crisscrossed the void as the human ships maneuvered with surprising agility for their size. "Ambassador," Mira said, her voice trembling as she watched the display. "Are we witnessing the start of an interstellar war?" "No," Ren assured her, hoping she was right. "This is a limited engagement. Captain Riley knows his orders." Even as she spoke, smaller craft began launching from the 2 medical carriers, transport shuttles protected by the dreadnoughts covering fire. "Medical deployment commencing," came a new voice over the communication channel, female and authoritative. "This is Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Elena Stone, Earth Medical Corps. We are beginning emergency medical response regardless of ongoing hostilities. First shuttles will touch down in 3 minutes. We'll be ready, Dr. Stone, Mira responded, her skin flushing a determined orange. True to her word, 3 minutes later, a squadron of sleek shuttles descended through Orin's atmosphere, landing in the cleared area outside the medical facility. The hatches opened to reveal humans in advanced containment suits, efficiently unloading equipment and supplies. A tall woman strode directly toward Ren and Mira, her containment suit marked with both medical insignia and military rank. She removed her helmet once the suit confirmed atmospheric compatibility with her filtration systems. Ambassador Ren Prime Healer Mira. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Elena Stone, Earth Medical Corps. Her handshake was firm, her eyes sharp and assessing as they took in the facility behind them. We've brought 3 full field hospitals, advanced diagnostic equipment, vaccine development labs, and 200 medical personnel. Where do you need us most? Before either could answer, more shuttles appeared in the sky above. That's the second wave, Stone explained, bringing the portable isolation wards and gene sequencers. Dr. Stone, Ren began, the situation in orbit is being handled. Stone finished for her. Captain Riley will ensure our supply lines remain open. Our focus is here. She turned to Mira. Prime Healer, I need your most comprehensive data on the pathogen and patient progression. My team will integrate with yours immediately. We'll establish triage protocols in the next hour and have preliminary treatment options by end of day. Mira's skin rippled with blue hope once more. This way, Doctor. We've compiled everything we know. As they entered the facility, Ren's communication device chimed again. Ambassador! Riley's voice came through, sounding strained but controlled. We've neutralized the weapon systems on 5 Alliance vessels. The remaining 2 have withdrawn to a safe distance but remain in system. Ambassador Varen is demanding to speak with you. Put him through, Ren said, stepping aside as human medical personnel streamed past her, already coordinating with Orin staff. Ambassador Ren. Varen's voice was cold with fury. You have authorized an act of war against the Stellar Alliance. Earth has attacked our vessels without provocation. After your vessels fired first, Ren interjected, and threatened medical carriers responding to a council-sanctioned emergency. Ambassador Varan, I witnessed the entire exchange. The record will show the Alliance as the aggressor here. Those Dreadnoughts had no business in this system, and your vessels had no authority to interfere with an emergency medical response. Ren countered. Ambassador, while we debate, Orin citizens are dying. The Earth medical teams are already deploying on the surface. I suggest you withdraw your remaining vessels before this situation escalates further. There was a long pause before Varan responded. This isn't over, Ren. The Council will hear of Earth's military aggression, and I will personally ensure they hear of the Alliance's interference with emergency medical aid. Ren replied evenly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a plague to help contain. The communication ended, and Ren took a moment to compose herself before rejoining the medical efforts inside. The diplomatic fallout from this incident would be significant, but for now, her priority was the same as Dr. Stone's, saving as many Orin lives as possible. Inside the facility, the transformation was already underway. Earth medical personnel moved with practiced efficiency, establishing treatment zones, diagnostic stations, and research areas. Their equipment, far more advanced than anything the Orin possessed, was being integrated with local systems. Dr. Stone had established a command center in what had been Mira's office. Holographic displays showed patient data, pathogen analysis, and treatment protocols being developed in real time. Ambassador, Stone acknowledged Ren's entrance without looking up from the genetic sequence she was studying. How's the situation in orbit? Tense but stabilized. Captain Riley has neutralized the immediate threat. Good. We've got enough problems down here. Stone gestured to the pathogen model rotating above her desk. This is unlike anything we've encountered before. The mutation rate is extraordinary. Mira, who had been conferring with a team of human and Orin researchers, joined them. Your equipment has already identified 3 structural weaknesses our analysis missed, she said, her skin pulsing with cautious optimism. We're developing a 3-pronged approach, Stone explained. First, a broad-spectrum treatment to slow progression in current patients. Second, a targeted vaccine for the uninfected. Third, a genetic therapy for the most severe cases. She looked directly at Wren. Ambassador, we'll need more supplies than we brought. The scope of this epidemic exceeds our initial estimates. What do you need? Captain Riley has the list. Our supply ships can retrieve everything from our bases in neighboring systems. But they'll need escort. Wren finished for her. Through potentially hostile territory, now that the Alliance is involved. Exactly. Wren nodded. I'll authorize it. The Council gave me discretionary powers for this mission. Thank you. Stone returned her attention to the pathogen model. We'll have the first treatment protocols ready within 6 hours. If we're lucky, we can start seeing results by tomorrow. And if you're not lucky, Wren asked quietly. Stone met her gaze steadily. Then we adapt and try again. That's what we do. Over the next 72 hours, the combined Earth-Orin medical team worked without rest. The Earth Medical Corps had brought stimulant packages that kept their personnel functioning well beyond normal endurance limits. Another military-derived protocol that proved invaluable in the crisis. The first breakthrough came when Dr. Stone's team identified a common protein structure that remained constant despite the pathogen's rapid mutations. Within hours, they had developed a compound that targeted this structure, slowing the pathogen's replication rate significantly. It's not a cure, Stone explained during one of the rare briefing breaks, but it buys us time. Patients who would have died in days now have weeks. The second breakthrough was more surprising. A young Earth doctor, analyzing Orin agricultural practices, discovered that a common fertilizer compound, Mirac nitrate, had molecular similarities to a treatment Earth had used for a different epidemic decades earlier. We can synthesize a vaccine using this as a base, she explained excitedly. The Orin already produce it in massive quantities for their farms. We just need to modify it. Production began immediately, with the first doses ready for testing within hours. The results were promising. The vaccine provided significant protection against infection. Meanwhile, in orbit, Captain Riley maintained a defensive perimeter around Orin Prime. The Alliance vessels had withdrawn to the edge of the system, but remained present, observing, waiting. Earth supply ships came and went under heavy escort, bringing additional medical supplies and returning with research data. Ambassador Varen had lodged a formal protest with the Galactic Council, accusing Earth of using the medical crisis as cover for military expansion. The Council had scheduled an emergency session to address the situation, but it would be days before they reached a decision. On the 4th day, as the vaccine distribution began in earnest, and the first critical patients showed signs of recovery, Wren received an unexpected communication request from Ambassador Varen. Ambassador! Varen's image appeared before her, his expression unreadable. I request permission to send an observation team to verify the medical nature of Earth's activities on Orin Prime. You doubt that they're providing medical aid? Wren asked, unable to keep the edge from her voice. I doubt nothing. I seek verification. Wren considered for a moment. Permission granted. Ambassador, your observation team may land at the primary medical facility. They will be escorted at all times and must not interfere with treatment procedures. Agreed. 6 hours later, Wren stood with Dr. Stone as Varen himself led a small delegation into the main treatment center. The Alliance ambassador stopped abruptly at the threshold, clearly taken aback by the scene before him. The facility, which had been overcrowded and chaotic days earlier, now operated with remarkable efficiency. Earth and Orin medical personnel worked side by side, administering treatments, monitoring patients, and processing new arrivals. The most critical cases were housed in advanced isolation pods brought from the Earth carriers, while recovering patients rested in clean, orderly wards. Ambassador Varen, Wren greeted him formally. This is Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Elena Stone, commander of the Earth Medical Response. Varen nodded stiffly. Doctor, I must admit, this is not what I expected. What did you expect? Ambassador Stone asked, her tone professional but with an undertone of challenge. Given the military vessels you arrived in, something less medical. The Dreadnoughts are why we're here. Ambassador, Stone said simply. Without their protection, our medical carriers would never have reached Orin Prime, as your own actions demonstrated. Varen flushed slightly, but maintained his composure. I would like to see your research facilities. Of course, this way. As they toured the facility, the evidence of legitimate medical aid was overwhelming. Earth doctors had established vaccine production lines, treatment centers, and research laboratories throughout the complex. Orin patients were clearly recovering, with many already well enough to return home. In the main research lab, Stone showed Varen the pathogen they were fighting. We've determined it's not naturally occurring, she explained, displaying the genetic structure. The mutation patterns show signs of engineering. You're suggesting this is a biological weapon? Varen asked sharply. We're suggesting it was designed, Stone corrected. Whether as a weapon or an experiment gone wrong, we can't yet determine, but its structure is too precise to be natural evolution. Varen's expression darkened. If someone deliberately released this pathogen, then it's not just a medical crisis, but a security issue. Wren finished for him, which would make the presence of those dreadnoughts even more justified. The Alliance ambassador was silent for a long moment, studying the pathogen model. Finally, he turned to Wren. I would like to speak with you privately, Ambassador. In a small conference room away from the main activity, Varen spoke with unexpected candor. The Alliance's concern was never about the medical aid itself, he admitted. We feared Earth was using this crisis as pretext for establishing a military presence in a strategically valuable system. That was never their intention, Wren assured him. Perhaps not, but you must understand our perspective. Earth joined the galactic community only recently. Their history is marked by territorial expansion, often following humanitarian intervention. When we saw dreadnoughts entering Orin space, you assumed the worst, Wren finished for him. But consider this, Ambassador, without those dreadnoughts, how many more Orin would have died while we debated diplomatic protocols? Varen sighed. I will withdraw our formal protest with the Council, and... He hesitated. I will offer Alliance medical personnel to assist with the relief efforts. Our expertise in genetic therapy might prove useful against this engineered pathogen. Thank you, Ambassador. That would be most welcome. After Varen departed to make arrangements, Wren found Dr. Stone in her makeshift office, reviewing patient data. The Alliance will be sending medical support, Wren informed her. Stone looked up, surprised. That's unexpected. What changed Varen's mind? Seeing is believing. Doctor, your team's work here speaks for itself. Wren paused. But there's something else. The engineered nature of this pathogen raises questions about its origin. We've been analyzing that, Stone confirmed. It appears to have been designed specifically for Orin physiology. This wasn't random. It was targeted. A deliberate attack. But who would want to harm the Orin? They have no enemies, no valuable resources worth stealing. Not resources, Stone said thoughtfully, but location. The Orin system sits at a strategic junction of 3 major trade routes. If the population were decimated, the system would be open for colonization, Wren realized, and whoever controlled it would control those trade routes. Exactly. Captain Riley is already investigating ship movements in and out of the system prior to the outbreak. If someone deliberately introduced this pathogen, we'll find them. The implications were disturbing. But for now, Wren focused on the positive developments. The infection rate had begun to decline as the vaccine was distributed. The most critical patients were stabilizing. The Earth Medical Corps, working around the clock, had accomplished in days what might have taken weeks or months without their intervention. 2 weeks after the Earth fleet's arrival, Prime Healer Mira called for a gathering of all medical personnel. The main plaza outside the central facility had been cleared and prepared for the occasion. Thousands of recovered Orin patients joined the medical staff, both Orin and human, along with representatives from the Stellar Alliance who had arrived to assist. Mira stood on a raised platform, her skin radiant with the vibrant blues and greens of health and joy. "Today," she began, her voice carrying clearly across the assembled crowd, "we mark not an end, but a beginning. The plague that threatened to destroy our civilization has been contained. Though we have lost many, too many, we as a people will survive." She gestured to the Earth medical personnel standing to one side, with Dr. Stone at their head. "When we sent our plea to the stars, we expected doctors. Earth sent dreadnoughts." A murmur ran through the crowd. "And in doing so, they taught us a profound truth sometimes. Healing requires protection. Sometimes, medicine needs a shield." Mira turned to address Dr. Stone directly. "Your ships fought to deliver your healers. Your soldiers stood guard so your doctors could work. You brought not just medicine, but the strength to ensure it reached those who needed it. For this, the Orin people offer our eternal gratitude." Stone stepped forward, accepting a crystalline sculpture, an Orin symbol of life and renewal. "We came because you needed us," she said simply. "That's what humans do." Ambassador Wren, watching from nearby, felt a complex mix of emotions. The crisis had been averted, yes, but it had also fundamentally changed the dynamics of interstellar relations. Earth's approach, combining military protection with humanitarian aid, had proven effective, if controversial. The Stellar Alliance, initially hostile, had eventually joined the relief efforts, and the Orin, recovering from near extinction, now viewed both humans and the Alliance in a new light. As the ceremony concluded, Captain Riley approached Wren, his uniform impeccable despite the weeks in orbit. "Ambassador, our investigation has identified the likely source of the pathogen. A research vessel registered to the Cygnus Consortium visited the Orin system shortly before the outbreak. The consortium has connections to several fringe groups interested in acquiring territory for colonization. Do you have proof? Enough to warrant a formal investigation by the Council. With your authorization, we'd like to maintain a presence in the system until that investigation is complete. A single dreadnought and 1 medical carrier." Wren considered the request. Under normal Council protocols, military vessels were not permitted to remain in a system without specific authorization. But these were not normal circumstances. "I'll authorize it," she decided. "But I'll also be staying to monitor the situation personally." Riley nodded. "Thank you, Ambassador. Dr. Stone will remain as well to oversee the continued recovery efforts." As the captain departed, Wren found herself reflecting on the events of the past weeks. When the humans had first arrived with their dreadnoughts, she had feared they would exacerbate an already dire situation. Instead, their unique approach, what they called defense in depth, had proven crucial to the mission's success. The Council would debate the implications for cycles to come. Some would argue for stricter regulations on military vessels during humanitarian missions. Others would point to the Orin crisis as evidence that such regulations needed to be more flexible. For Wren, the lesson was clear: principles mattered, but results mattered more. The humans, with their dreadnoughts and their doctors working in tandem, had saved millions of lives. Whatever diplomatic complications arose from their methods paled in comparison to that achievement. That evening, as Orin's 3 moons rose over the recovering world, Wren stood with Dr. Stone on a balcony overlooking the capital city. Lights were coming on in buildings that had been dark for weeks, signs of life returning to normal. "Your council will have questions when you return," Stone observed, leaning against the railing. "Many questions," Wren agreed. "About the pathogen's origin, about Earth's military presence, about the future of interstellar medical protocols." "And what will you tell them?" Wren considered for a moment. "The truth. That when faced with extinction, the Orin didn't care whether help came in medical vessels or dreadnoughts. That sometimes, the most effective healing comes with the strength to ensure it can be delivered safely." She turned to face the human doctor. "That perhaps our protocols should adapt to recognize this reality." Stone nodded. "On Earth, we have a saying, prevention through strength. It doesn't mean aggression. It means being prepared to protect what matters most." "Life," Wren said simply. "Life," Stone agreed. Below them, in the recovering city, Orin children were playing in streets that had been empty days before. Overhead, Earth's dreadnoughts maintained their vigilant orbit, no longer symbols of concern, but of security. And throughout the system, Alliance vessels now patrolled alongside them, a tentative cooperation born from shared purpose. They had come expecting conflict between principles and pragmatism. Instead, they had found a new understanding, that compassion without capability was merely sentiment, and that true healing sometimes required both the gentle hand of medicine and the firm shield of protection. The Orin would recover. The investigation into the pathogen's origins would continue. And the galaxy, watching these events unfold, would perhaps reconsider its understanding of how peace was best preserved, not always through the absence of strength, but sometimes through its judicious application in defense of those who could not defend themselves. As Wren prepared her report for the council, she chose her title carefully. The Orin intervention when they expected doctors, humans sent dreadnoughts. And beneath it, a simple addendum, and in doing so, they saved a world.